The next theory that we will look at is Bandura's Vicarious Learning theory. So vicarious learning means that we are learning through somebody else. So Bandura proposes a social learning theory and he talks about observational learning. He says that most human behavior is learned through observation, imitation and modeling. More specifically, coming to language development, he says that children learn language by observing models around them. So what are these models? So models for any human being can be anything around them which they can observe and from which they can get some information. For example, a family can be a model for everyone because we look at our family members, and a child looks at how the family members are speaking and learns language through the family members. And peers or classmate can be a model. The teacher and the classroom can also be a model. Media, the community, the religion to which the child is exposed to, and the sports which the child is playing. So all these are models from which children pick up language. And for an adult, even the office or the workplace is a model that we can observe, imitate and learn something from. And Bandura also says that mere observation is not enough for learning because the child also has to pay attention and he or she has to retain what is being taught and has to be able to reproduce what has been taught, and there should be a motivation for all of the above. For example, a child goes to school and just by sitting in the classroom and observing the teacher, the child will not be able to learn everything. The child has to pay attention to what is being taught in class. And the child has to retain or remember what is being taught. And when required, in a practical or in an exam, the child has to be able to reproduce what has been taught. And to do all of this, there has to be some motivation. The motivation can be positive or negative. For example, if the child does well, he will get a reward from his parents and from the teacher. So that is positive motivation. If the child does not do well, he might get punished by the teacher or by the parents. So that is negative reinforcement or negative motivation. So this way, observation, when combined with all these mediational process, leads to learning. Bandura also says that the child is more likely to imitate people it perceives as similar to itself. For example, same gender. Girls would like to imitate women or girls that they see, and boys are more likely to imitate men. If a boy thinks of himself as a good sportsman, then he might imitate other sportsmen. If a girl thinks she's a dancer or she wants to be a good dancer, then she might imitate other good dancers that she sees in the media. So that way, children are more likely to imitate people that they perceive are similar to themselves. And people around will respond to the imitation with either reinforcement or punishment. For example, the child thinks he is a gunda and he learns some bad languages from his friends, and he comes home and he uses that bad language in the family, and his parents immediately punish him. Then there is a punishment that is happening. So the child realizes that if he uses such language, then there will be punishment. So the child will stop using such language or avoid such language. And the child will come back from some function and is able to repeat some speech or say things in a particular way. He uses some language which leads to some praise by the family members. So he is getting positive reinforcement there. So the child realizes that if I do things in this way, if I repeat these or if I use a particular type of language, then people are happy, right? People are praising me. So that is positive reinforcement that leads to language development. So this way, both positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement or punishment lead to development of language. And the child will also factor in what happens to others before imitating. And this is vicarious learning. That is, the child's brother comes home and talks in a particular way. He has learned something in school, which he repeats at home. So the child sees that the brother gets a reward for speaking things in a particular way or using a particular type of language. So the child will also try to imitate because he also wants to get the reward. This way, children look at others as well, and they are observing others and learning from them. So that is vicarious learning. So this is Bandura's theory of vicarious learning.